This is independent practice, part 2, and we'll start with number 11. These are more difficult. You really have to think about these. So hopefully you've had a chance to kind of try it, but here we go. We want to use this table over here to help us. First one says, George Blanda played in the NFL for 26 years. Write and solve an equation to find how many points he averaged each year. So, 26 years times the points he got each year is going to equal his total. Now, this chart shows us his total. It's 2002. So, it's going to be, I'm going to take away this total and replace it with what I know, which is 2002. So then, all I have to do is get P all by itself. And the way I'm going to do that is divide this by 26 and divide this by 26. 26 divided by 26 is 1, so it's going to be P equals 2002 divided by 26. I use my calculator for that, and it gives me 77. So I think he gets 77 points a year. Now let's see if this makes sense. It says he played for 26 years. So I'm going to do the 26 years times 77 points a year, and that gets me the total of 2002. So 77 is the correct answer. Okay. Similar problem for this next one. It is about Norm Johnson. He played in the NFL for 16 years. Write and solve how many points he got a year, averaged a year. So 16 years times some amount of points will get me the total points. I come to this chart. It says Norm Johnson. Okay, he totaled 1,736. Now I got to find points. So I take the 16 divided by 16 and the 1,736 divided by 16. This equals 1, so it's P equals 1736 divided by 16. It is 108.5. And I want to make sure about that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 108.5. I think he got that many points a year, 108.5. And he played in the NFL for 16 years. So I'm going to times it by 16. And when I do that on my calculator, it gets me 1,736, which is his career points. So it worked out. Okay? All right, let's do the next one. This one is very difficult. So you got to put your thinking cap really on for this one. An average person's heart beats about 103,680 times a day. A day. So that's your key. That many times a day. Write and solve an equation to find out about how many times the average person's heart beats in 1 minute. So 1 minute. So I need to figure out how many minutes are in a day. And the way I do that is I know that there's 24 hours in a day times 60 minutes. And 24 times 60 equals 1,440 minutes in a day. Okay, so if that's many minutes in a day, now it's saying how many times the average person's heart beats in 1 minute. So I'm going to go 1440 times how many beats per minute, because that's how many minutes in a day, is going to equal this 103,680. So what I have to do is I have to get this x all by itself. The way I do it is divide this side by 1440 and divide this side by 1440. Okay? This I know, I'm going to come over here and change it to blue. This is going to equal 1. So it's x equals, then on my calculator I do 1,03680 divided by 1440 equals 72. So I'm going to say, based on this big number here, that the heart beats 72 times a minute. 72 times a minute. The way I'm going to check that, in 1 minute, it's 72 times. In an hour, it would be 72 times 60, because there's 60 minutes in an hour. So 72 times 60 equals, so it's 4,320 in an hour. But I want to know the day. And how many hours are in a day? Times 24. So 24 of these. So 4,320 times 24 hours equals 103,680, which is what I want. Okay? So once you found out how many minutes there were in a day, then you could set it up like this. Then you found the x, did the division, and got it to be 72. Average heartbeats 72 times in a minute. Okay, let's go on to the next. This problem, not quite as difficult. It's given us a nice chart. So we read it. Problems involving constant speed can be solved by a formula. Distance equals rate times time. Okay, so distance is how far we go, rate is how fast you're going, and the time is how long it took. Fernando's family traveled 272 miles on a road trip. So that's the distance, 272. They drove for 4 hours. That's the time. What was the rate of Fernando's family that the family traveled? So I don't know the rate. I'm going to, you know what? Since it starts with a R, I'm going to call it R. So 272 times R equals 4. Oh, I did that wrong. I did that very wrong. I wasn't looking at my chart. Because if you look closely, here's the equals. We know that it's rate times time. So really it is 272 equals the rate times time. So I want to get this R all by itself. I can switch this around because of the commutative property of multiplication. So it's 4R. Okay? So I'm going to try and find this. Oh, no, I didn't want to do that. I'm going to try and find 4R. I want this R to be all by itself. So, and the way to do that is to get it, divide each side by 4, divide by 4, and this one equals 1, so it's going to equal, R is going to equal 272 divided by 4 equals 68. So the rate is 68 miles per hour. Now let's just check to make sure this is good. So if I take these two and times them, it should equal this. 68 times 4 equals 272. 68 miles per hour. Okay? If you have any questions, let's talk about them. Or you can go on to the hot problems.